So, hello to all. I've just recorded a Spanish video about this, and I thought, well, why only piss off the Spanish community when you can piss off the English speaking too? So what I'm going to talk about right now in the video is, I think some of the Wing Chun concepts are explained confusingly or incorrectly, and that brings to a way of training that for me is against how we should train. Every time you hear about Chi Sao, what you hear is that it's a sensitivity drill, and I think it's nothing to do with sensitivity, at least not one sensitivity as most people consider it. Okay, I think it must be some way of, somehow it got translated like that or something, or they couldn't find a better word. But if you think about how the body works, there's nothing in how the body works where repeated action on the body would give the body more sensitivity. Okay, on the contrary, when you give stimulus to a body to a certain areas continuously, what he does is the opposite. He becomes stronger there. He becomes less sensitive in order to reduce or ignore the stimulus. Okay. So some people think that Chi Sao is a sensitivity drill. The more Chi Sao you train, the more sensitive you will become, and then by some sort of magic, whenever you go into combat or whatever, that capacity, sensitivity you've acquired will make your body behave automatically and respond automatically to different hits or different kinds of attacks. Okay. Well, I've been training for nearly 20 years in this, and I'm as insensitive and as brute as I was before. I don't think the Chi Sao is a sensitivity drill in that way. I think what Chi Sao is an environment to train, or a drill to train with pressure, and learn how to make micro adjustments, the correct micro adjustments, the correct body adjustment and body alignment in order to deal with pressure correctly, in order to disperse it, diverge it, use it, in order to find gaps on the other person's pressure, in order to avoid the pressure affecting your structure, and in order to then be able to hit, and after hitting being able to create different attacks, different combinations, different possibilities. When people think about it being a sensitivity drill, they tend to train Chi Sao in a way where just doing hours of Chi Sao you will acquire an ability. I think it's more like walking. You learn how to walk, it becomes a habit, and you do it unconsciously. But whenever a new thing comes in front of you where you have to deal with it, if I put an obstacle in front of you, your body thinks of the obstacle and has to decide on what to do. Whenever the obstacle for the body is something that he does continuously, you don't have to think of it, and you can use your mind to other things. But whenever there's something else in front of you that is a different issue, your mind has to think on the action, on walking or whatever. Okay. Well, I think this is the same as grapplers roll in order to do some things without having to use so much your mind, and dedicate your mind to tactics, strategy or whatever. Grappling should be grappling Chi Sao should be an environment where you train pressure, how to deal with the typical pressure inputs and outputs, and how to do the basic things in pressure, in order to dedicate your mind to strategy and tactics in fighting. Then whenever the pressure is different or too much, your mind has to go and deal with it, and your body micro-adjusts with the training, but then your mind has to know how to deal with those things. People who train as a sensitivity drill, when they come to different attacks or actions that they haven't seen, they just tense up. They don't find a solution. If you think of something like rolling in grappling, or the Chi Sao as a pressure environment, you the chi sao teaches you how to deal with the most used pressure and the most common pressure attacks, and then your mind can start doing different strategies and tactics. If something different comes up, your mind will help you deal with that pressure with the understanding on how to deal with it. So there's nothing where your body will react without thinking. It's all about thinking. It's just that you train so that some of the most common actions will be done without using so much your brain. But there's nothing about sensitivity there. It's just an habitual motion that you train and you perfect under the chi sao pressure environment. So I try to think of chi sao as that, a pressure environment with different levels. Sometimes it's just, at first it's just learning how to deal with the pressure, then it's learning how to use it, then it's learning how to find pressures and angles, affect the other structure, etc. Build over that, but it's a pressure environment, and then that pressure environment is used in combat. But for me, it's nothing where your body becomes more sensitive. It doesn't.